Is Fortnite dying? I haven't made a video like this in a while. I haven't felt like I needed to, and I don't really think I need to right now. This isn't like how I felt during mid chapter 3 where I genuinely thought the game was potentially going to die and things were looking really rough. But player base is down, viewership is down. A lot of people keep asking my opinion on that and why I think that is and what I would do to potentially bring it back if I could. And a lot of you guys like hearing my opinion on this topic, so I want to jump into it. Don't worry, it's not going to be a whole doom and gloom video. I'm not getting bored of making Fortnite content. I am actually in a really good spot with Fortnite, but I can see there's a lot of other people burning out. There are a lot of people in my community and other streamers and creators saying the game's in a rough spot, and I just kind of want to give my thoughts on why that might be, but why I think this is actually going to change in the near future. Just quickly before we jump into the rest of today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to AOC for sending me their Aegon Pro AG276QZD monitor. This monitor is an absolute beast, running at 240 Hz and a 0.01 millisecond response time. When you're a boomer like me, you need a monitor that fast. But this monitor isn't just about speed. Featuring an OLED QHD panel, meaning you can run your game in crisp 2K quality with HDR10 brightness and vibrancy, means you are getting a crystal clear image. It isn't just about the screen on the monitor either. The monitor itself is absolutely beautiful. It has a backlit stand that looks incredibly clean. You can filter through a whole bunch of different RGB modes to give your room that extra edge, and the base is even shaped specifically for esports players in mind. You've probably seen players who sit nose to their monitor and you wonder, where do they fit the mouse? This stand is specifically shaped to give you more room if you're bringing your mouse closer to your desk. So those of you guys who are gaming on a small setup don't have to compromise your desk space. We first got to start off talking about what is dying, because everyone always has this discussion. Anytime Fortnite viewership or player base declines, people say it's dying. And I know I'm jumping on the trend. I'm not judging them, but we need to be very clear about this as well. Just because something was really big and now it's going down doesn't always mean it's dying. Yes, technically it is. It's a decline towards zero, which would be the death of a game. But even when Fortnite is in a bad state, it's still so much more popular than almost literally every other game out there. So usually it's just subjective to a bunch of people feeling like they're not enjoying the game as much as they were at a previous time. And this seems to happen a lot. Honestly, the fact that last season and the season before had some of the highest viewership we've ever seen around OG Fortnite, and then coming into chapter 5 is insane. I reached peak numbers on basically every single metric last season, which I never thought I would. I thought the COVID numbers or the prime Fortnite numbers would never be achieved again, and Fortnite somehow got us back there, which honestly blew my mind. But things are yet again declining, and I think there are a number of reasons for that I want to talk about. Again, I do not think the game is in a particularly bad state. I just don't think it's in a good state, but I think it's going to get there. So first off, why is the viewership and player base down this season? Well, it's just lack of content. I think everyone already knows this, right? There just hasn't been a lot of major updates in this season. Quite often we'll start with what I think is not a particularly great season at its core, and then Fortnite will tune it, they'll tweak it, they'll add some new things, and they'll make it more fun throughout the season. I think this season was the complete opposite. I think it started with so much potential. It was at its core such a good season. I love the theme of it, all the Greek codes, the vibes are really cool. We had these crazy new items, we had the wings, we had the lightning bolt. I think the overall theme of the season was really good, and the only way to then ruin that for me instantly is the weapons. But honestly, outside of getting used to using a gatekeeper shotgun with 3 shots, I got used to it pretty quickly and actually enjoyed the gameplay of this season. There's a few things that I would change here and there, but ultimately it's a good season. I think the viewership and the vibes reflected that for the first few weeks of the season, but unfortunately nothing's really happened. I think this season is the most missed potential we've ever seen from Fortnite. We've had almost nothing updated throughout the season to change anything. I would have loved to have seen the wings be made better. I just think the fact that we have such a cool item that's so unique and really looks great, but then as soon as you use it, it's terrible, is just Epic doing really bad game development. This could have been like an item defining season. We would look back on this season and call it the wing season, like we did with the hammer season. Whether you liked the shockwave hammer or hated it, I absolutely loved it. It was a very defining weapon, and it made that season feel truly unique and special. I think that's what this season could have been with the wings or even the lightning bolt or a few other items. Obviously, I wasn't the biggest fan of the lightning bolt. I'm kind of happy no one uses it and it's not too strong at the moment, but I think the wings would have been a great chance where they could have tweaked it and developed it a little bit more to make it a bit more fun. I think when you have such a defining item in a season, and then you look at how many people are actually using it and it's just non-existent, I feel like you need to address that and think about what could we do to make it more fun. I think this is just some of the worst development we've had from Epic in a season. They didn't really add much new content throughout the season, and they didn't really update any of the existing content we had to make it more fun. I'm thinking of seasons like Primal Season, which I will argue started as one of the worst seasons of all time. It was horrific. The primal shotgun was a nightmare. It was so overpowered. The makeshift weapons were terrible. Trying to get any gun you wanted was just awful. There wasn't really that much content in it, but throughout the season, just through good game development, I think by the end of Chapter 2 Season 6 Primal Season, we ended with a phenomenally good and fun meta, and I will die on that hill. I think it was actually a good season. There was major issues of lack of content around the map changing, but this season we got what I would say is pretty good map changes. I would say actually exceptional map changes. So the first few weeks of this season, I think, was the vibes that you would expect from such a good season. It just didn't go anywhere. We didn't get any storyline, we didn't get really any events, and we didn't get any content. I think that is why viewership and player base is down. That simple. I don't think people are falling out of love with Fortnite. I don't think it's anything inherently wrong with Fortnite. There's just not really any reason to get on and keep playing week on week in this season. One of the main reasons to keep playing is competitive. It's tournaments, and then competitive seems to carry viewership. We've had this happen a lot in seasons where there's just not that much content for casuals to get on for, or there's not really any content for, you know, big content creators to come in or keep making videos. You probably noticed a lot of your favorite content creators like Cypher PK slowing down in some of their uploads on the game right now, because what is there to upload? You can't keep doing the same videos constantly and be enjoying it. And there are still some streamers out there absolutely killing it. I see people like Thieves and Replays and Zemi getting on day after day, playing game after game and still making great content, but it's gonna get a bit repetitive for them, and you can see them wanting to play other games or moving on and doing other things. And so the viewership really comes down to competitive, because if there's tournaments on, people get on and play them, people get on and watch them, like myself. But even with competitive right now, because of a few issues, the main one for me being the scheduling and the formatting, oh my god, don't get me started. I was making the jokes at the start of the season that the tournament scheduling looked like it was done by a drunk monkey. At this point, I'm starting to say it was done by a blind pig. It makes no sense. There's just 3 or 4 days of cash cups in a row, solo victory cups, just literally back to back to back. Everyone's like, what is going on? Like, I've got a life, I've got school, I've got work, I can't play this many tournaments. And again, you can't really complain about too many tournaments, but then when you get to periods like now, where there's entire weeks of nothing, unless you're in FNCS semifinals, it's like, why did we not have some of those tournaments then? Now, and again, obviously we all want more tournaments, like, and there's a cap of money that Epic's going to put into the game. They can't just keep running more tournaments, but just the way they've allocated the tournaments we do have is just insane. We had 4 duo cash cups, and again, they were just put in the weirdest times, in the weirdest places, and now we have these weeks of just nothing. And I think that is what is always going to bring the viewership down and bring the overall vibes of the game down as well, especially in competitive. Now, the FNCS format was also just absolutely terrible, just from top to bottom. I'm sorry, I absolutely hate this FNCS format. The way the qualifying rounds work, where it's top 2,000 to top 1,000, means that the top 2,000 is extremely hard to get, which crushes the dreams of a lot of up and coming pros, or, you know, content creating pros, which kind of kills that storyline. And again, I know it's FNCS, it's supposed to be the major tournament, the best of the best should be playing, which you end up getting there, but why do we have only 2,000 make it through to then make the next round feel so easy and just nothingness to get top 1,000 in? We really got to make that feel more exciting. I think they should open it up way wider at the start to let more people in, and then start to cut it down towards the finals. And that would give a lot of people a reason to keep playing the game, because they want to keep playing FNCS. Then we only had 2 weeks of qualifiers, which is super odd. We might as well have 3. It's just more exciting and everyone loves it. And then this massive break, a 3-week break in the middle of FNCS, to where people are coming into my stream being like, Aussie, is FNCS over? I don't remember a winner. Oh, we're not in semis yet? But didn't we have qualifiers like 3 weeks ago? Yeah, we did. And a lot of people have forgotten what is going on. I don't know why Epic is doing this massive bye week. I said originally, I think a 1-week bye week just to ban cheaters was a necessary evil. I'd rather no bye week, but if it gives the players a rest, it gives people like myself a chance to make some content and build some storylines, and then we jump back into it next week. That's not so bad. It's not such a long break where people are going to give up and forget about it. But now it's turned into like 3+ weeks. Next bye week next season is 4 weeks long. It is a month of no FNCS. That is as long as FNCS itself. FNCS only takes 4 weeks now. So I don't really know what Epic's doing there. And then that causes the competitive viewership to decline quite considerably, which means that there's not really anything going on. And that's where I think a lot of people lead to saying the game is dying. Now, the competitive issue is easy to fix. Just have better scheduling. Just sit down, map out the tournaments ahead of time, and imagine if you were playing in the tournaments, what do you think would be better? What would you want as a player? And I think that will massively help the viewership and the player base in competitive. Now, the player base of viewership is not that absurdly terrible. It's not like I'm out here panicking for my career. I still think it's good. It's just, it could be so much better with just a few little tweaks. And I think a lot of what I've just discussed is why people, at least in the competitive scene, think the game is dying currently. Now, how to fix the game from a casual perspective is also, again, just as simple. It's just add more content. I know that's so easy to say. I'm pretending like it doesn't take billions of dollars of development to add a bunch of new content constantly, but this season just really missed the mark with the smaller updates, just adding a bit of mobility here, a few items there. The avatar update was big and obviously added entirely new and unique items, which was really fun for a lot of people. Unless you were playing no builds because you're just getting water bended constantly, which is a little bit triggering, or people running with air bending, but it was different. It was unique. It was fun. And I think those major updates are good, and I would love to still see Fortnite do them going forward. But I think where they're missing the mark is just adding a few other items we've already seen in the game before for a bit of fun and a bit of variety, and then balancing the existing items we have, like the wings, to make them more fun. Again, I'm a reasonable person. I'm not expecting Epic to go back to Prime Fortnite where they had the gigantic team and we were getting major content updates every week or two. I would love that, but I get why they might not be doing that. But I do think the lack of content we've got this season is a bit concerning. This is one of the first seasons, or if not the first season, we've been told since Donald Mustard stepped away, where the new person's taking over Charlie. And I think the direction of this season was quite cool. There just wasn't a lot of the upcoming updates and a lot of the major changes we'd want to see throughout the season. And I think that also could be due to the amount of layoffs we've seen recently at Epic Games. Maybe they just don't have the staff to get out the level of content that I want, which is concerning, but I think could be okay with just some minor changes. It also is a little bit alarming if you didn't see recently, Donald Mustard did an interview and it was fantastic, where it pretty much does look like the main person who was pushing for Fortnite Battle Royale to be the core of Fortnite, and especially the map to be the center character, was Donald Mustard. At the highest level, he was pushing to make sure we get these major updates, major events, and Fortnite is going forward as a game with Battle Royale at its core, where now it looks like Fortnite is moving further away towards focusing on creative and UEFN. You've probably seen this. A lot of the updates that are coming out now, like the Lego updates, like, the festival mode updates, like the rocket racing, there's a lot of time and effort and development going into those things, and if you don't play them, it's just lost on you, which is hard. Again, I'm someone who just likes the Battle Royale. I don't really play the other game modes that much, but I understand putting effort into those things for the longevity of the game. Like I said, last season was Fortnite's absolute third or fourth peak, whatever you want to call it. Viewership and player base was booming, and a lot of it was due to that development. So I understand there is value for it. I just wish it didn't come at the expense of the Battle Royale. And I still think with a few more, again, just little updates, it wouldn't feel like this. Don't worry, I told you guys it wasn't going to be all doom and gloom and it's me sitting here saying the game is dying. Don't worry, I really think it's going to bounce back in a big way. This isn't going to be like mid-chapter 3 where it starts to go down and then it just plummets down. We have the leaked roadmap for the entire chapter. In case you guys missed it, there was an Epic employee who took a photo of their screen during a meeting and leaked this. Now, we didn't know whether it was true at first, but now it is basically confirmed to be true, with multiple things that were on that list now coming true and happening exactly when it predicted. So most people are saying this is true. Next season looks like hopefully it'll be decent. There's not really much to go off. We just have the cover art to go from. Hopefully it'll be fun. If again it misses the mark a little bit, vibes might go down a little bit next season, but there's no real way to know. But after that, things ramp up massively. The last season of this chapter that is an OG, and I'll get to that in a second, is going to be a Marvel themed season. We are going to be getting Doctor Doom as one of the major characters, and if this is even half as good as Stark season, chapter 2 season 4, people will be obsessed. That season was phenomenal, and anytime Marvel is involved, you know it's big money, you know the content is going to be popping, and you know it's going to be fun and exciting. Yes, it might be a little bit overpowered, it might be a little bit broken, but it's not going to be boring, and that is what I'm extremely excited for. And then after that, we are going to be going into OG Fortnite, chapter 2, OG Fortnite. They're going to bring it back again. I know some people will be like, oh, they keep doing it so often, it won't be as fun. I get that, but I didn't actually like chapter 1 OG Fortnite that much. I'm sorry, it just felt really repetitive to me. I feel like, yes, it was fun for a little bit. I know a lot of people loved it because it brought their friends back to the game. I was loving the amount of people brought back to the game, but me personally, I just wasn't having that much fun playing it, and I think it was because the tournaments weren't that great though. So if they nail the tournaments in chapter 2 OG Fortnite, I will be in heaven. And there are leaks for the competitive fans out there. There is going to be an OG FNCS, and my bet would be it would be solos. Chapter 2 season 2 and 3, which is going to be the last 2 seasons we get in the OG season, which means it'd be towards the end when they run FNCS, was solo FNCS. And again, this isn't going to qualify you to the LAN. It's not going anywhere. And if they wanted to pick an FNCS to maximize player base and match with the vibes of that season, solo FNCS would make the most sense. So I really hope that happens, because that would be amazing for the competitive scene. But we are going back to Chapter 2 OG Fortnite, one of the most fun times in the game's history for me anyway. Chapter 2 Season 1, yeah, it dragged on a little bit, but we're not going to have that issue now because it's not going to last for 3 months. It's only going to last for like 3 weeks. So I think that is going to be extremely fun. And then Chapter 2 Season 2 and 3 are, in my opinion, 2 of the best seasons of all time. They were so fun, they were so fresh, they were so exciting, and going through those updates really fast will be incredible. And again, I think it's going to bring a lot of people back to the game. It's going to put a lot of eyes on the game. So even if a couple seasons in the middle of this chapter, you know, they're not the greatest, they're not super memorable, I don't think we're going to have that massive decline like we did in Chapter 3. I think the vibes are going to maybe be a bit more like Chapter 4, where people start to maybe get a little bit bored, and then they have that massive pickup again at the end of the chapter. So I don't think it's all downhill from here on Fortnite. Again, I don't even think Fortnite is in that terrible of a state. I just know there's a lot of people asking my opinion on this topic, and I wanted to give my thoughts on why I think Fortnite might be declining ever so slightly. But also, I think this is just the normal cycle for Fortnite. They put a bunch of effort and time into a few major updates that absolutely explode the game, and then they can't keep that going forever. It's just impossible. Fortnite's ability to keep our eyes and our attention on this game is incredible, and I think they'll still continue to do so, and I don't think this is the time to start panicking thinking Fortnite is over.